Hey you guys, I'm Hannah. This is Hannah's Harvest, and I would love to take you along to take a look at my garden today. This is a little different than my typical little tour of the vegetable garden because I want to tell you about some of the landscaping ideas that I'm having, which are subject to change, of course. But I'm just starting to dream now of all of the landscaping possibilities for this front yard. If we end up staying here 3 years, 5 years, or more, that is plenty of time to see these plans come to fruition. Now, these plans take time, they take money, and a lot of work. So I realize that it will be a process, an ongoing process, and it's not just gonna happen all at once. And hey, by the time we get around to doing some projects, I might have changed my mind and want to do something totally different. But now that I've seen all of the growing seasons, well, not fall, but I've basically been here about a year to see how things grow and where the light hits and yada yada, and I've gotten real familiar with this front yard, and so I'm having fun thinking about what we could do to make this a little garden experience, an even more magical experience than it already is. So let me just take you, I guess we'll start here on the end of the house and we'll just walk clear to the other end and talk about some design ideas. This is not so much about the plants and looking at the plants, this is about design and thinking about how to focus the eye on different areas of the garden. So let me turn you guys around. Okay, this is the carport end of the house, and we're walking along here by this big Bradford pear tree, which is growing into the power line. You can't really see that, but during the winter it's really starkly obvious that the tree has been lopped off. And so first of all, I know this is a big decision, but I think I want to take this tree down, and we'll look at it from some different angles of the yard, but I think this is going to be a good decision on many levels. So one thing it would do would open up just a little more light in this area. I love the elephant ears, and they can stay or not stay depending on whether they get enough light in coming years. And there are also these forsythias between the elephant ears. There's one there and one there. I love forsythias and I love that pop of yellow, but they don't grow well here because too much shade. They will get really large and put on lots of yellow flowers, but I think they would like a little bit more sun. So imagine kind of walking, parking your car and then walking through here, and what if instead of this path and this tree and everything, there was an arbor, and the arbor maybe was, I don't know how long, but it would form like a little tunnel, right? And maybe we could plant some grapevines on either side, or something vining. It could even be roses. So you're starting your little journey into the garden through this tunnel of vines. I really like the idea of grapes because it's edible, and I want as much in this garden to be edible as possible. And then at certain times of the year you'd have this pop of yellow from the forsythias to your right. Then you're going to notice some changes to the front garden because I ripped a ton of stuff out, just trying to get it cleaned up and trying to see what's really left. And then you can see this new little bench that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. I just think it is so adorable, and it really fits in with the theme that I'm going for here. By the way, I don't know if I've ever sort of verbalized the theme that I'm going for, but it's kind of a potager which means a garden full of all different styles of gardening, such as the raised beds, the pots, the in-ground, the, you could have vertical gardening, hanging gardens, all sorts of styles. That's potager when you combine. And then it's also kind of like English country garden style as well, where I want there to be some formal elements, like these rectangles, that I've put together in an orderly way, or the curvature of the bed, like this. But then it's also sort of haphazard and almost, like effortless, like you just woke up like this kind of a look. And that's what I was going for this year with all the wildflowers, which was somewhat a success and somewhat of a fail because of how messy it got. Anyway, and then some words I would just use to describe the look of this would be like old-timey grandma's cottage garden kind of look. Because the reason I'm going with that is not just because it's my personal style, but because of the house itself. So this middle section of the house, the darkest red brick part, that's the original house. It was really quite tiny and built, I think, in the 20s or 30s or 40s or something like that. It's fairly old. It's got that look of, your great-grandmother's house in the country. And I like that, and I want to riff off of it and sort of unify the whole property with that theme in mind, because I don't like how disjointed these add-ons, this end and then the bedroom at the end, I don't like how that detracts from the lovely, antiqueness, I guess, of this old portion of the house. So I want to bring out that old-timey country grandma's garden look, and choose plants that sort of remind you of that type of thing, and then landscape accordingly. So, okay, where was I? Let's go back here. So you might come through this arbor thing, and then all of a sudden you spy this cute little white bench, and that just makes you want to walk right up and sit down and have a cup of tea. But then you might get up and you want to walk further through the garden. So what if we extended this in-ground flower bed a little bit, and we just kind of pulled it out to where the path ends? Okay, and then that would make actually right here the path. And Matt could just mow this. It could just be lawn. We wouldn't even have to necessarily create a path. Just leave it grass, whatever. So the bed would come out more to where this black plastic finishes, and then it would bend back in towards the step. That would just give it a nice rounded look, and increase the amount of area for planting, of course. Then if we kind of look towards the wall here, I've done some arrangements of pots in the back to kind of make up for the fact that everything has been pulled out, right? And then when I was weeding, I left whatever flowers I felt were worthy of leaving. So they look a little ragged right now, but hopefully over a couple of days and with sufficient watering, they'll spring back and maybe even put on flowers, which I think should be a yellowish, orangish color. We'll see. So this arrangement back here is temporary. I'm just trying to create something interesting. But I want to draw attention somewhat to this beautiful window. And I'm thinking maybe a window box right underneath that lip. And I don't think it would be as wide as the window. That would look, I don't know, the proportions I don't think would be right, but maybe it would start here and then end at the other, like, divider. So you get this pretty window box framing the middle section. And throughout the seasons I could put different things in there, like petunias or something that's going to be really full and kind of spill out. And it would also cover up this wall and kind of detract from that vent there. Now, the hydrangea. I bought a couple plants here recently, and this was one of them. I'm really excited about that. I want that white pop of color, and also the hydrangea is an old-timey plant. It's very soft and billowy and kind of romantic, so that's hopefully going to live there and get big, you know, and real bush up and kind of fill in that back corner. And it likes shade too, so it should live there happily. Then I got this plant right here. It's called, hold on, I forgot now. One second. It's called Abelia Canyon Creek. Okay. And it's related to honeysuckle, so it kind of has that look to it. But it's so pretty, and I love that white with a tinge of rusty pink to it. It works well with the house. So maybe it would function well kind of where it's sitting, okay? And it would help to block the vent as well. And then existing, you see this lilac bush, and I've thought of every which way I could make it work with my theme and aesthetically, but I just can't figure it out. I don't really like the scraggly look of the plant within this context, and when it finally does bloom with the lilac color, that color isn't really gonna fit with my theme, with my color palette, which is white like the hydrangeas. I think it looks good against the brick, and then yellow. You see the marigolds over there, and there's some black-eyed Susans in way back there. I really love the look of that bright yellow against the brick house. The white and the yellow, those are going to be my base colors. And then I think I'll allow this blue, kind of that purpley, well, not purple, blue. I want to stick with blue to be my accent color, and I want to use that very sparingly. So anyway, I don't think that the lilac really works there. Thus, this fall and spring, I will attempt to remove it. It's a pretty big plant, so if I can't remove it, then I'll just have to prune it all the way to the ground and deal with that. Now, in its place, I'm thinking right here where the gutter is, that patch of dirt, plant a climbing white with white rose with a tinge of yellow. I found one that that does okay in the shade and will climb a wall like this, and then it could be trained kind of that way towards the window as it gets taller. And again, that's just going to look so romantic and old-fashioned, especially adjacent to the sweet little bench. So rose climbing against the wall, and then maybe like a globular evergreen plant there, like a boxwood that's been shaped to be kind of round, or a I don't know, something that could be very formal looking and evergreen right there. And then of course this plant, lobelia, and then maybe another globular evergreen, then your hydrangea. So you've got formal and soft and wild kind of intermixed, right? Then that'll form my background where I don't have to drop plants in there every year. It's just gonna stay the way it is for the most part. And then with the front, I can be a little bit more free with annuals and so forth. So okay, and then the front, let's move over here. Now, wouldn't it be cool if there were these evergreen spires on either side? See where I put the little holly in a pot, and over here a little euonymus in a pot? Well, I would love for there to be something kind of vertical and formal, framing the door, just going up like that, almost, I mean, maybe not to the top of the column, but one on either side, right? So I would love that, just to frame this entranceway a little bit more. And then, okay, this left side, I haven't weeded, and it is crazy, especially with these sweet potato vines. But I want to do some formal planting in the back, like the hydrangea. That's an identical hydrangea to the other one, and hopefully it will fill out this corner as well. And then, okay, there's this blank area of wall, right, between the two windows, and again, I think I want to get rid of the lilac. So what would I put in its place? Well, possibly this plant right here. Okay, I could transplant this because it's only going to be a year old next year. It's got these lovely purpley tinged leaves, which is kind of a mixture of my blue and, you know, the natural green color of everything. So I think it would create a really awesome pop against the wall, but also be kind of, it's not an evergreen, but it would live there and fill out the space. It's gonna get really large, almost tree-like. So that would provide some 3D visual interest there. And then maybe you could have some plants such as this. The oh, if I think of it, I'll let you know. But it's an evergreen, and it kind of forms this natural globe shape, and it's got that lovely yellow tinge. And you could kind of, you know, circumvent, whatever. Put them around that tree to give it some form. Now, this is kind of the end of my current beds, right? And then it's just lawn. But imagine possibly a gazebo type thing right in this area. It would be pretty small because I want it to match the size of the house and the garden and everything. I want it to look cute, but and even Matt was on board with this, which I was kind of surprised about, because he's usually like, I don't know when I come up with these ideas. But anyhow, some seating right here would create the concept of entering into a different room, right? So as we walk along in this little journey, I want it to feel like we're entering different special areas, and it's not just all a mass of random plants. So if we walk forward, then you could, you know, walk up under the gazebo and sit in some shade and enjoy a cup of coffee, and then you could carry on and keep walking in this direction. Now nothing is going on here, and the wall is super bare and super boring, and because it's so blank, it's just, in my opinion, begging for something artistic to happen. I wouldn't go so far as to paint a mural, but one idea I've got is, well, hold on. So plant there, right? Something tall that's kind of helping to mask the gutter. Then maybe a smattering of forsythias, maybe one there, maybe one there. So we carry on that pop of yellow, and also have this like bush that's just gonna live there and take up space. Then possibly fill in the spaces with blackberry bushes and raspberry bushes, because of course they'll give us berries, but also they have these adorable little white flowers before they put on their fruits. So that's gonna fit in with that soft aesthetic, that white color theme. So this could be just kind of a row of berry bushes here, dotted with the forsythias. Then maybe, here's an idea for the wall. Build a trellis that's got that lattice shape that matches with the bench you saw over there, the, you know, classic garden lattice shape. But make a really big one that spans almost the entire wall and goes up really high. And then plant some sort of vining thing at the bottom, Probably not ivy because it's invasive, but there's lots of options, lots of plant options. And then train it over the course of a year or two to go up that lattice. And then it creates this piece of art, really. And even in the winter, when there's no leaves on it, you still see this super cool like vine pattern against the wall. So that's an idea, but hey, do you have any ideas for this wall? Because it is quite a conundrum to me, as you can probably tell because I haven't done anything yet. Let's keep going though. So you see, we're coming to the end of the house. We've got this lovely tree, and then there's this shadow, and the hill starts to descend, and you can't quite see what's back there. And I love this. I love the natural mystery that this end of the house creates. So I really want to capitalize on that. Leave this beautiful tree, of course, and then maybe plant something that's going to obscure that corner a little more, like a holly, perhaps. I'm not sure exactly, but something evergreen would be ideal so that it's always full, and you have to walk around this corner in order to see what comes next. Then what comes next would be this shady little moss garden. We could pile up some rocks and some pretty logs and train this natural moss we've got everywhere to just cover everything, and then add in hostas and ferns and things that'll just, you know, be pretty low maintenance and enjoy the shade over here. Then dot it with flowers or water loving plants if we put in a small water feature, possibly. So then it could wrap around, and these nice 3 trees back here would just frame this whole shade garden area, and you could put a seating area here, like wrought iron table and chairs, and that way you could look back, sit there and look back into the valley and see a garden or see animals, whatever we end up having down there. And this would just be a lovely place to be in the shade and to stay cool. So I love the idea of this being a separate room with a different character to it than any of the other spots in the garden. Thank you for watching this far. I want to take you one more place before I wrap this video up. And while you're still here, please do comment if you have any ideas of other things to do that would be cool, or like suggestions based on what I've said. Yeah, so I'm going to show you our entranceway now. Let me turn it around. Okay, now we've got this gate and 2 little posts on either side. So what I'm thinking is make this the purple entrance. If I successfully transplant the what's it called? The bushes up there, lilac. Then we have 2 lilacs, and we could put one there and let it, you know, it could get massive here, it doesn't matter. And then one over here as well, so that's gonna frame the gate. And then Matt really wants us to build like a formal bed here, a skinny one that goes all the way, well, almost close to the road, and we would do that on either side, and possibly add another one of these round beds just to make it symmetrical on the other side. But I had the idea to plant lavender, like the French variety that gets really tall with the spikes, to plant just lavender on both sides. I don't know if that would work, but oh, wouldn't that be stunning to drive in with lavender on either side, and then the lilac bushes framing the front. So that was the last design thing that I wanted to show you. I hope you've enjoyed hearing my ideas and seeing some of the garden today. You know, I look forward to watching this video myself in the coming years. It'll be interesting to see what what we ended up actually doing and what ended up different. So yeah, so I'm glad that I'm making this video for myself as well as you guys. Alright, I'll see you guys soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.